Hey, thanks for watching the Drawing for Adults class. This class is offered as a partnership between the Ann Arbor District Library and the Ann Arbor Art Center. My name is Peyton, and I'm going to be teaching you today how to draw or paint a galaxy using acrylic paints. So I am going to first lay out what paints I am using. So the first color I'm going to be using is a black, or you can also make a combination of burnt umber and ultramarine blue, which makes a really nice mixed black. So you can see here I'm labeling out what I'm using and what the colors look like. Phthalo blue or primary blue I'm also going to use, as well as ultramarine blue, and a titanium white, permanent violet, or some kind of cooler red. Maybe that's alizarin crimson, depending on what kind of red you have, but that red and white will make a really nice pink when combined. So I would recommend trying to mix those together. So then I'm gonna go ahead and start filling in my background with a combination of my blues and my black. And that's whether you mixed your black yourself with the burnt umber, or if you are just using black straight out of the tube, whatever you have on hand will work. So you can see how I am using that darker blue more towards that upper right corner, and then I'm fading it while my paint is still wet. This is using acrylic paints. You can do something very similar with watercolor, or even you could do soft pastels or something like that, but you can see how I'm fading it. And for this really to happen, I need my paint to stay wet. So that is going to be key. This is one of those things that's a little bit trickier to show you, not in person, I would say, because it's just a little bit harder. So of course, if you're using a photo reference for this, then yours is going to look a little different than mine. I would encourage you to just sit back and enjoy this, and I can kind of talk about my process, and then you can figure out what makes the most sense for you in terms of doing something similar to mine. My photo reference I'm looking at has like a little, I don't know, cool little design, I guess, in the center. So that's why I'm really spending a lot of time here blending those colors to get it kind of lighter in the center, from coming in from that right side, and then it gets darker kind of again on the other side, going more towards the left. So you can see how I am just blobbing colors down. I am doing this digitally. That's probably obvious at this point, but I say that to say that doesn't necessarily make this easier. In fact, I'm trying to do this so that I'm drawing it so that it's as relatable, comparable, something like that. If you were using actual paint rather than digitally. So I'm just saying that to point out that I'm really trying to make this as realistic in terms of using actual paint as I can. So here I am continuing to just layer. So when it comes to painting, especially with acrylics or oils, you could do this with oils as well, actually. It's so important that we layer and we really add lots of paint. So a lot of times people will think, oh, I just painted my background and it doesn't look great. Well, that's because you're not done yet. This is still just your underpainting. This is still just the beginning stages. And so you can see here, even with me doing this digitally, you can still see the substantial amount of layers, these really soft blended edges that just lightly reveal that layer of paint beneath. And that's how I'm getting a more complex, really deep color palette within this sky here. So I also recommend using a soft brush, like some kind of softer brush, not super stiff, because then you'll see a lot of your bristles. I also think a round or a filbert is nice, rather than something like flat or an angled brush. So do consider that, and that'll just make it so that you'll have some softer little brush strokes, okay? So you're gonna see I'm gonna continue to layer more and more colors, and then I'm gonna sort of blob little bits of colors down, and then you're gonna see how I then use my brush to blur them out a little bit. I just simply will smudge them just slightly. And you don't have to blend every single part out anyway. You can leave it like having the little brush strokes showing, because I think really works with the Galaxy aesthetic, that it looks kind of atmospheric and cloudy or something. So now what you're seeing me doing is this very, very tedious process, which is drawing or painting the little dots for the stars. Now, you are seeing a time-lapse video that was something that probably took me, I don't know, 6 hours, I would say. So this is obviously a much shorter version. I do not paint this fast, but I say that to point out that it does take a lot of time. So if you're looking at this and feeling a little intimidated, I am too, because I didn't do that this fast. So just find comfort in that. One thing that's really cool for doing galaxy skies and stars is doing some splatter paint. So tap on the edge of your brush and you can create a really fun, very, very colorful night sky with twinkling stars that way, and it looks very natural actually. Even though it's splatter paint, it actually will look really natural, and I think you'll enjoy it. And then the other thing is the ground. So once you've got the sky, if you want to do some kind of landscape towards the bottom, all you need is a simple paintbrush, small paintbrush with black paint that you can create a nice silhouette. It doesn't need to really have a lot of detail in any other color other than black, because it's at night, and so you wouldn't really see any more detail than that. So it's kind of just that silhouette. So you could keep it really simple and just do the ground, or just do mountains, or just trees. You could do, I don't know, a little cactus or something, whatever you want. So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed today's video and that you'll tune in with us next time.